I want to talk to you about therapy. Um, if you've had any type of trauma in your life, you really need to find a therapist. People reach out to me all the time. Clark, can you help me? I have a list of things to help them. It all involves people taking action now. A lot of people just think I have magical words, and I don't have magical words or pixie dust to sprinkle on you to make everything right. It takes action. And, here I am, the person that people, reach out to on a daily basis for help, and I'm in therapy myself. So if it's good for me, it damn well is good for you. And, at some point in time, you just have to stop procrastinating, stop being a victim. It's all about that victim mentality. You're comfortable, with your pain, you're comfortable with your self-destruction, and going in a new direction is scary. I don't know why it feels so scary. If you're sick of the way you're living, if you're sick of self-destruction, if you're sick of self-sabotage, if you're sick of addictions, if you're sick of letting your loved ones down and letting yourself down, then what are we doing? Let's start taking action to go in a new direction. So I got therapy for the first time in my life when I was locked up in prison. Miss Berger in prison. I loved her. She was great. I got out of prison and I went to the Center of Prevention. Excuse me. I went to I had parole made me go get a drug eval. So I had to go to the Center of Prevention in my town, get a drug eval. And I decided to stay on and do therapy with Rachel Wallace there. And that lasted for about 2 years after I got out. And then, work got crazy, and other things in my life got crazy, and I was away from therapy for a while. And then I had new trauma in my life. And I didn't want to slip back to any of my old habits when dealing with this new trauma. I want to be healthy. So, I don't want to self-destruct. I don't want to sabotage. So I found a trauma therapist that specializes in EMDR. I've heard, a lot of people have reached out to me, you have to try EMDR therapy. You have to try EMDR therapy. It works wonders. It worked wonders. So I got an EMDR therapist. And I've been going to therapy for over 2 years. And we hadn't even gotten to the EMDR yet. I've had enough stuff going on in my life, Just because you had childhood sexual abuse doesn't mean all of a sudden life is going to be smooth and easy. It doesn't work that way. You're constantly going to get punched in the gut by life. So I've had enough issues for the last 2 years to keep me and the therapist busy before we have even gotten into EMDR therapy. And we've been going over, in these 2 years, we started a trauma timeline. And I've been doing my trauma timeline for a while. We would do it, and then stuff would come up in my life, and we would focus on that, and could be a month or two before we got back to the trauma timeline, So we finished the trauma timeline, and then we've been building up to my first EMDR session. And I had my first EMDR session this past Friday. And, I didn't know what to expect. But I had something, I don't want to go into the exact detail, but I had something that was triggering that morning about the abuse. My daily meditation that I do, there was something in my meditation that took me back to the molestation by Dennis Pegg. And so I went in. It happened that morning of my therapy session. So I went into therapy and told her about what happened. And we decided to use that as the starting point for the EMDR. And she had me get an image in my mind with regards to, what had triggered me that morning. And then she starts the EMDR as I'm focusing on that image. And, you follow her fingers for about 20 seconds or so, back and forth. And it helps the mind to begin to process the trauma. And doing that, after the 20 seconds, then she asked, what am I feeling? What thoughts popped into my head? What emotions I'm feeling? And I had tightness. It started off as tightness in my chest. I froze when Dennis Pegg would touch me. Froze and felt stiff like a board and paralyzed. And that's, what was happening. So then we focused on the stiffness in the chest. And it took a couple